Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure unboxing video. And today we are taking a look at a figure that I have been very excited for a very long time. That being the Super Dragon Ball Heroes 3rd Mission Dragon Ball Super Dragon Ball Heroes Masterlise Bandai Prize B Ichiban Kuji figure. That's not going to be the whole title, don't worry. I'll shorten it up a little bit. But obviously, we have the boy Vegito himself. And not just Vegito, but obviously the full power Super Saiyan 4 variant. And oh boy, am I excited to crack into this figure. Not only when I saw that this figure was going to be part of the set from the newest Dragon Ball Heroes Ichiban Kuji set, was I excited about it. I was also very excited about this guy because in the past there was a Vegito figure that was released of the Super Saiyan 4 variety. I'm not going to show it to you yet because the actual figure will be on the screen at the end of the video, so you'll be able to see it in person. However, that figure really left a lot for me to desire, really. There was a lot of things with that figure that I really wasn't a fan of. Funny enough, there are, like, not too many things with that, like, not as much as I would normally go in for a really bad figure, because I don't think it was a really bad figure. I just think that there's some things that they certainly could have improved on. Mainly his face. Y'all know that I am a stickler when it comes to faces, so obviously getting a Vegito where I think that the face looks more like the boy himself is super exciting. And not to mention, obviously, this figure being a full power Super Saiyan 4 figure is really, really cool. This is definitely going to be my first full power Super Saiyan 4 figure, which is kind of crazy that we even have that, considering that it is just, you know, a Dragon Ball Heroes like exclusive form type of thing. Let's go ahead and get our box out here. Now, by the way, for this figure, I did actually have to get this guy imported, but thankfully, I didn't have to do any of the importing shenanigans. The funny red man of the Geodudes channel actually got this guy for me last Christmas. Yes, I know, opening this guy all the way now. Listen, I have a very big backlog of figures I need to get through in my possession, okay? So we're just going down the list, and obviously, oh wow, look at that cape. Since I obviously opened the Masterlise from this same set, you know your boy had to crack into this one too. Funny enough, there is bubble wrap on his head, but as you can see, it is still stabbing right there. So let's go ahead and just cut this. Let's be careful of the cape. So my hope with this figure, for me, is that I am really, really wanting this figure to replace the current Super Saiyan 4 Vegito that I have, which was obviously one from a few years ago. Wow, the cardboard is really not being helpful, and also, I don't know, yeah, you can definitely see that. It's flaking on the table a little bit. Ooh, I'm already liking the look of the hair, okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and readjust our camera a little bit here. So as you can see, we have the boy. Let's go ahead and get him out of the packaging. He comes in basically one piece. It is literally just the tail and the stand are the two separate pieces here. Let's go ahead and blast, give it a little bit more light. Do we have a hole here to pull this out of? Usually there is a hole that aha! There she is. Darcy blows. Pull that bad boy out of there. Obviously, I don't even have to say it by this point because I've said it so many times, but clear stands all the way, baby. I am so glad that this is what Bandai has decided to go with, rather than those really awkward looking colored ones. The clear ones always look a lot better, a lot more professional, and frankly, they make the product actually feel a lot more worth its value. Alright, so let's slide the tail out here. Obviously, this is going to be a little bit more of a sparkly look for Super Saiyan 4, and that is why this sort of has almost like a glazed donut type of look. Obviously, because Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 is supposed to be this like shiny version of a Super Saiyan 4. So I think that they did a good job with the tail, and I definitely like the shading on the little bit of like black spray line that they did for that. I'm sure it'll look even better on the man himself. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and free him. Now, one thing that you will definitely notice, especially if you are familiar with that other figure, is that this is basically the same figure in terms of posing, and a lot of the different things about him were copied over sculpt-wise onto this new version of the figure, which you know that most of the time I'm not a fan of copying things over from previous sculpts, but I gotta be honest, I kind of get it for Dragon Ball Heroes because, of course, Dragon Ball Heroes merch is a lot more limited, and I can understand them using resources a little bit more. I'm just happy to hold this thing in my hand, if I'm being honest. Alright, so let's see. Oh, wow, he actually stands really well without the stand. That is kind of surprising. Let's go ahead and pop the tail in him, and then we will do the old face reveal. So far, I'm not really seeing anything too crazy in terms of the sculpt. Not being that great. Everything that I can see on him looks pretty good. I don't see any QC issues necessarily. Ooh, that also has a very nice tight fit in there. That also does not look like that you stuck that in there. That's cool. Definitely looks like that should be there. And I guess we'll just put this on him even though he can stand. Which foot does this go on? That's the one thing I wish these stands said. I wish they had like a little R or a little L on them. Oh, well, okay, I guess... That was easier than I thought it was going to be. Okay, let me actually show you that on camera. I didn't think it would go on that easy. It definitely seems to be for this foot, where you literally just wrap that boy around and then it snaps right on. Nice, okay. That is definitely a lot more stable too, even though he was already pretty good standing on his own. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the big reveal for our boy here. Nice and close to the camera here. Ready? Undress him. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh, he's looking to the side a little bit. Okay, hold on. His hair is getting stuck. There we go. Okay. All right, so how do I feel about this face? Very interesting. It definitely isn't as close to the box because obviously with the boxes of these figures, they never match the final product. That is just kind of Bandai shenanigans with production images, and obviously the production images is what ends up on the box. However, I actually quite like this face. I think it is a very nice, serious look for Vegito. He looks more concerned than anything. He's kind of like, hey man, are you okay? You've been seeming kind of off lately. I'm here to tell you that everything is going to be okay. But overall, I do quite like it. I definitely like it a lot better than the other face, that is for darn sure. The hair color is very interesting because obviously the hair color on our man is not brown or black. It is sort of, it's almost closer to Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's usual hair tones. But obviously it is shiny because of course it is supposed to be the Limit Breaker hair. And I think that they do a pretty good job of it. This is definitely a hair sculpt as well that fits too. And I think that the color that they did on the fur as well actually gets that Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 look very much down. I like the shiny coat of paint that they gave this to make you feel like it has that sort of sparkle effect to it. Legs are pretty standard Dragon Ball legs as well. Nothing really too crazy to write home about here. I do quite like the cape though. I love the way that this sort of explodes out, right, towards the, you know, just I guess the wind blowing with Vegito. I like this nice cut where it's sort of separate here. Definitely very, very cool. The boots also look very nice. Obviously, these are Xeno Vegeta's boots, and I think that they did a good job of sculpting them. Very cool. He definitely has a pretty cool presence as well, especially with that cape flowing right there like that, right? I think that that definitely adds a lot more to him. Like, I feel like if they had the cape just sort of hanging down, right, he may not be as impactful on the shelf. But I think the fact that they added the cape being so animated, right, I definitely think adds a lot to this figure. We will obviously compare in one moment here, but I definitely think that this guy is going to take the cake in terms of a comparison with my other version. And is that a QC issue I see, or is that just lighting? No. I feel like I keep seeing a line right there, like where the bang sort of meets the section that connects to his head, but I honestly think that that's just the weird paint job that is giving that effect. It's also interesting how sort of towards the roots of his hair it's still black. Alright, let's go ahead and give this guy our size comparisons. Our usual two contenders enter the fray with the Ichiban Kuji Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and the WCF Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Obviously, this guy is a pretty good size. He's not too crazy big, but he's also certainly not small by any means necessary. He probably stands around a little shorter than a Grandista figure, ironically enough being more expensive than one. And I would say he stands at about, let me lift up the camera so we got that actual size for you. I would say close to 10.5 inches looks about correct to me. I know on the camera it sort of looks a little bit closer to 11, but I would say a little bit that. So definitely under a foot tall. absolutely at least by an inch. Let me go ahead and put my ruler down a little bit, but I definitely think that he is a pretty good size, right? Again, this is a figure that isn't going to be taking up a crazy amount of space on the shelf, but he also isn't going to be, you know, a little minifigure standing there either. All right, so let's go ahead and give you some quick comparisons. One I had to bring out, and I won't keep him on the stage for long, but just because he is another Super Saiyan 4 and obviously another Dragon Ball Hero Super Saiyan 4, ugh! I had to bring him into the fray for just a little bit. We have the Ichiban Kuji King Cluster Super Saiyan 4 Broly. And I gotta be honest, man, these guys look really cool together. Obviously, Vegito and Broly have fought many, many times throughout the history of Dragon Ball Heroes, so these two look really cool. Funny enough, in this actual set, there is a Super Saiyan 4 Broly, and the last one version is a limit breaker of said Super Saiyan 4 Broly. It is the limit breaker version of that figure, and I would absolutely love to get that version of the figure if I can. Obviously, I'm going to have to import it because it's already hard to import the regular ones. Importing the last one version is harder even so because, of course, typically they tend to be a little bit more because they're more rare, right? But either way, that is these two together. Definitely a very good look. And even though they are from different sets, I think that they still look pretty cool together. Now, speaking of being from different sets, we actually have one from the same set. Currently, the only other figure that I own from this particular Super Dragon Ball Hero set, a figure that we have taken a look at previously, and that, of course, is the Masked Rose. And I gotta say, whew! These guys do look really sick together. I believe that this guy did not actually fight Masked Rose, but you can tell that these guys are definitely from the same set. Obviously, they are also around the same size, too, so they definitely make a very nice companion piece to each other. And it is really cool to have both of these guys in my collection because a lot of the time when I see these figures that I'm like, oh man, I know I'm going to have to import this because there isn't going to be an overseas version for this figure. It is always super satisfying to have a lot of the figures from the set that I wanted right in front of me. And of course, there are more from this collection that I would love to get in the future. But oh man, these two bad boys being next to each other is peak. Very, very cool. And of course, I've been teasing it this whole video. It is time for our comparison between the original Super Dragon Ball Heroes Super Saiyan 4 Vegito and, of course, the brand new Super Saiyan 4 Vegito Limit Breaker version. Wow! Okay, so I have a lot to say about this. For one, there is definitely a lot more sculpting going on, I feel, on the newer one. Not only does his hair have a lot more detail in terms of the sculpt, but I feel like they even sculpted the fur a little bit more, which is funny because one thing I was going to say about this figure is that I feel like that the fur sculpting isn't too crazy detailed like we've seen on some other Super Saiyan 4 figures. However, it is definitely more prominent than the original version. As well, something interesting is that he actually does have a lot more of a red tone to his pants. In the original design, I believe, of Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, he had these oranger pants to sort of mimic Goku's design. However, the red not only makes a little bit more sense for the color scheme of Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, I believe that they did that because obviously it looks more red when he's in the Limit Breaker form. So I think that that makes a lot more sense for the character. Besides that, though, obviously their gloves and the pants sculpt are basically pretty similar, though I do still think that the sculpt on the pants is nicer on the new version. I will say, like I was saying with the cape before, you can tell that the cape is a lot more animated, right? They sort of have it just gently blowing in the wind on the original version, but on the new version, it is like, you know, my man is throwing his cape to the wind. He is about to get into some crazy battle shenanigans. I think that adds a lot more intensity to this figure as well. Even though I don't think that the face is perfect on neither of these figures, I can definitely say that I like the face on the Limit Breaker version leaps and bounds more than I like the face on the original one. I don't even know what it is about the original one, because I don't think it's the worst Dragon Ball face I've ever seen either. I just don't think it really looks like Super Saiyan Vegito. Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, rather, excuse me. it's just something's really off about it for me personally, but I definitely think that the Limit Breaker version is a lot closer to how they should look. And it is a nice little detail to see too, that they actually did cover the lines around his eyes in a little bit of a color that is closer to the Limit Breaker form, which is obviously more appropriate. And of course the Super Saiyan 4 does have the correct red, but it's cool that they added in that little detail. Besides that, there isn't too many other crazy differences. Obviously the only really posing difference between these two guys is of course the original sort of holding his hand up. And I don't know which pose I like better. Obviously I certainly prefer the more exaggerated cape. I do think that the hand raising is cool, but honestly it's not really that much of a difference for me to completely prefer one over the other. The only thing I think I can say really that I prefer on the original one, funny enough, is the Potara. I feel like the Potara look a little bit more detailed on the original version of the figure compared to our new one here. But that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I've been looking forward to this figure for a very long time, and I hope that you guys enjoyed my look at him. Please let me know what you think of this guy in the comments section below as well. If I can find a place for you to pick him up, I will leave it in the link in the description. Obviously, since this guy is a Japanese only figure, it is going to be a little bit harder to find him. But again, thank you so much to my boy for giving me this guy as a Christmas gift. He will be going up on the shelf immediately and dethroning this stinky Vegito beside him. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to support more figure collecting shenanigans, you can do so over on my Patreon. But please do not feel obligated. Obviously, you guys watching the videos is more than enough. And speaking of which, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. It really helps out the channel, really helps the channel grow. And I will see you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.